It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for Tuesday, January 7th, with your hosts, me, Ray, working on getting heat, yes, indeed, and my good-looking son, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Very kind, Pops. I am doing well. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Today's show is brought to you by
CarEdge, damn it.
us, damn it, CarEdge.com. Get the best deal, save thousands. If and when you go to purchase a vehicle, you need to check out CarEdge.com. You can get free dealer invoice price, use our car search, all our free research tools. And under Buy a Car, we have our car buying service and our CarEdge insights. Check that out and so much more back at CarEdge.com. Stellantis spirals into catastrophe. Dad, today's title comes by way of Wolf Street. If you guys are not familiar, there's a great blog out there by Wolf Richter called Wolf Street. And ugly charts of U.S. auto sales in 2024. Stellantis spirals into catastrophe. GM, Toyota, Ford, Honda rise, but far below peaks. Hyundai, Kia sets record. EV sales up 10% despite Tesla's dip. The most damning and alarming thing in all of this is the byline right here. New vehicle sales rise, but still below 1986. Pops, we're going to look at this data and so much more. Stellantis, however, Dad, down 42% from their all-time highs. We'll scroll down to that right now. Let me find this for you. Wait for it.
Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah.
Boom. Stellantis FCA US sales down 42% from their 2015 peak. This is an ugly chart if you are Stellantis.
Yes. And, and looking at it, it makes you wonder how Carlos Tavares lasted till December 1st of 2024, because that decline is steady and strong for the last several years. So,
Dad, there's not many things in life that are steady and strong, especially as you get older. And so to see steady and strong sales declines is definitely alarming.
It's usually my line to do things like that, but bless your heart, it is at 73 hard to remain steady and strong. It really is, but Stellantis has, and for that you have to give them kudos, because if somebody was going to set out to destroy a major automobile manufacturing company, and do it in 5 or 6 years, you gotta give Stellantis credit, because they've pretty much done it. High water mark was 2.26 million sales in the US of A, and they hit 1.3 million last year. That at the age of 73 is certainly not the recipe for longevity. You're fine. Don't worry about a thing.
Dad, we have actually updated back at caredge.com/best-deals. Every month we update the best deals. And shocker, when you click on that 0% financing offers for everyone in January of 2025, you don't have to look that far to start to see Stellantis in the crosshairs right here with 0% financing offers. Very few automakers are offering 0% financing, but there you go, 0% for 72 months on the Dodge Hornet. Or you can click on our best full-size truck deals for January 2025. Again, big at the end of the year, but they're also still big here in January, obviously with Nissan. But if I scroll right below Nissan, there's the Ram 1500 and Ram 1500 Classic. You've still got 0.9% financing for up to 72 months. So Ram, Stellantis, more broadly, are struggling with continued falling sales. And this chart helps quantify and put into context a 42% decline in sales over those 9 years is non-trivial, to say the least. So it's going to be a long time coming here for, I think, Stellantis to continue to overly incentivize to try and get these vehicles sold, because they want to be back to where they previously were at 2.26 million vehicles sold, not at 1.3.
Well,
and look at the slope of that line too, Dad. Like, the slope of that line is aggressive.
Oh, absolutely it is. And would they prefer to be back up to 2.26 million? Absolutely they would. Is it going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. It is. I guess the good thing, if you're a Stellantis dealer, is that you've pretty much hit rock bottom. Okay.
Can we go much lower, I guess is the question. And you're saying no, we're at the bottom.
Yeah, I have to believe they're pretty damn close to rock bottom, so that you have to suspect that if you're a Stellantis dealer, things have to be kind of looking up. As bad as it is, things kind of sort of have to be looking up. I mean, the dealers have to be saying to themselves, it can't get any worse than this. Now, perhaps it could. I don't know. If I were a Stellantis dealer, I would certainly hope it couldn't. But you would. It's going to be a long slog to get back to where they were. So the good news is that things should improve for Stellantis. The bad news is it's going to take time, and hopefully there's the many of the dealers are have enough financial backing to survive the time it's going to take for them to be able to make their way back up that mountain.
Let's see. Are things going to get better or are they going to get worse? You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to the car search, Dad. And the reason I'm going to the car search is because I want to type in, we'll do our favorite, a Ram 1500, not a Ram 5500, a Ram 1500. We want to look at new ones for sale nationwide, of which there are nearly 50,000. And you can see here the first two results at Lindsay Automotive Group are above $72,000 for new 2025s. Only 58 days on the market and 32 days on the market. But what I'm interested in, Dad, is if I click into this vehicle, give me 1 second here. Interesting. Oh, this is a fun one, Dad.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, goodness gracious. Justice, I know you're on with me, Justice. Oh, this is about to be special. Stop screen share, present screen share. Oh, I'm excited about this one. Here we go, Justice. If you don't mind,
yeah,
and let me know in the chat if you guys can reproduce this. I'm clicking on the vehicle and nothing is happening.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
Clicking on the vehicle. That one worked. Interesting. Let's go back here. Let's click on a different one. Okay, that one worked. All right, Justice. All right, CarEdge team. We got a fun one. Why when I click on this, does that happen? Can't wait for the team to figure that one out. Don't envy them.
Justice says they're checking now.
Fantastic. 127 days supply. That's what I wanted to look at, Dad. 127 days supply. That's awfully high. So could things get worse? It seems like potentially they could, because 127 days supply doesn't suggest things are going to be better immediately.
Well, my guess is that 127-day supply is actually down a little bit from where it had been.
Good point.
It's just a guess, but I think that's a pretty decent educated guess. Stellantis's numbers could have been much worse, but they had, even though we saw a decline in sales in the fourth quarter, the decline in sales in the fourth quarter wasn't as striking as the decline in sales the first three quarters. So I don't know. My guess is they made certain improvements in their business. They've incentivized sales to a great degree in order to make some headway in reducing inventory. But they're still got a long way to go, and it's still going to be a rocky road as to whether or not they'll actually be able to navigate getting back to where they had been. You don't give up market share over the last 5 years and just get it back overnight. They are now, I think, the sixth largest seller of vehicles in the United States. They have been surpassed by Hyundai, Kia, Honda. So they've been moving in the wrong direction for quite some time. It took the board, I believe, way too long to recognize what was going on and do something about it. And so it's going to take time for them to rebuild. Now,
let's look at this as well, though, Dad, because the broader auto industry has been in a bad position for a long time coming. I mean, this chart shows you everything you need to know. New vehicle sales in the United States, we are at lower levels of total units sold than 1986, Dad. So we're almost 40 years and we haven't surpassed, or we're not surpassing sales rates. That's bad.
Well, it 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 indicates two things in my mind, and I believe in this gentleman's mind as well, and that is that the price of vehicles has gotten too damn high. There really truly is an affordability issue, and it has impacted the amount of sales that will get transacted in any given year. In 1986, they sold nearly 16 million new cars in the United States. Now, 40 years ago, if I were to guess, I would say the population of the United States was maybe 240 million, 250 million, perhaps. Population today is,
There it is
well,
right there, Dad. 237.9 million in 1985.
okay, so I was pretty close. That was a pretty good guess. And today it's close to 330 million. So 346 million. Now, I'm not going to suggest that extra 110 million people are all people that can afford to buy cars. Many of them are children, and they are not in a position to buy cars. But there's a greater percentage of people today who are not children, who are wage earners, who cannot afford to buy cars today. And that is why sales in 2024 were like at 15.6 million. You know, you would think with population growth, you would see sales growth, continued sales growth. And we're not seeing anything like that. I mean, the high water mark was a little over 17 million in the year 2000, and again in the year 2016.
Yep.
It should be, if manufacturers were interested in volume, then they would figure out how to produce more less expensive vehicles to broaden their customer base. I've been saying this forever. They have gotten comfortable figuring out how to produce fewer vehicles at a higher profit margin. But that's just narrowing your customer base as opposed to broadening your customer base. You know, there are some brands out there that have seen increases. Buick was a brand that saw increases in sales. Why? Because they have some lesser expensive vehicles that they've brought into the marketplace. Chevrolet, some lesser expensive vehicles that they've brought into the marketplace. So there is a good reason to broaden your customer base by offering lower priced vehicles, and some of the manufacturers are getting it better than others.
There's one brand in particular, Dad, that is shocking the auto industry with their performance, and it's not Mazda like we talked about yesterday, although Mazda is killing it.
Yes.
Hyundai Kia. Look at this chart. This is Hyundai Kia's sales per year, and they set a new record last year.
Yes.
And again, we were just looking a moment ago at the exact same sales chart for Stellantis, and they're 42% down from their peak. All the other automakers, like we're going to look at Nissan in a moment here, Ford, General Motors, all down from their peaks. Hyundai Kia is a perfect example of an automaker and a brand that's setting records year in and year out. Now, what's fascinating about Hyundai Kia is they've also increased their prices significantly. We tracked car price inflation back at CarEdge.com, and they've increased their prices a lot. And they're still relatively affordable. Like if we were to look at the average transaction price for a Hyundai Kia vehicle versus the average transaction price of all new cars, they're still below the average. So they are still producing cheaper alternatives. Whereas, you know, we've seen Ram, Ford, Jeep all go well above the average transaction price for all vehicles.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing that they seem to have done better than some of the other manufacturers is their foray into EVs. The percentage of their sales that are electrified is at a higher percentage than most of the other brands out there. But they seem to have made a much more concerted effort to move towards battery electric vehicles a few years back. You know, they've always had issues with their internal combustion engine vehicles, but they seem to do a pretty nice job with their EVs. They're, like I say, one brand that has really seemed to tapped into that market better than their competitors out there.
Yeah, I absolutely think you're right. And Dad, let's look at some of those other automakers briefly here. I'm going to scroll down. Or actually, we'll go back up to the top because we'll go from the largest in terms of sales volume to the lowest on this list. General Motors, they're still down 12% from their 2015 peak in terms of sales. However, to your point, Chevrolet, they've seen good and strong sales with some of their model lines and growth year over year, and obviously a rebound from those years of the vehicle shortage. You then have Toyota here as the second largest in terms of U.S. sales. Toyota has bounced back really nicely from the pandemic as well, but still 7% below their 2015 peak. So they're still trying to get back to a high watermark. Ford down 20% from their all-time highs, up obviously from the pandemic as well, but not nearly as sharp as what we've seen at Toyota. General Motors, Hyundai, Kia, who we were just looking at, which is the fourth largest in terms of sales in the United States. Then you have Honda. Look how well Honda has rebounded. Honda's still down 13% from their 2017 peak, but holy cow, the slope of that line is very aggressive in terms of Honda's rebound. And then the sixth largest in terms of sales in the United States was Stellantis, who we looked at the beginning. Like, this is undoubtedly the outlier in this chart and makes you genuinely question the, survivability of this brand. And right below Stellantis is going to be Nissan even. I mean, Nissan doesn't look good, also down 42% from their 2017 peak, but at least Nissan's not continuing to plummet down into the right. The Stellantis chart really is the worst looking one out of all of these. The Nissan one's a pretty good backup in terms of being terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Nissan looks ugly, but not nearly as ugly as Stellantis looks, because Nissan hit their low point in 2022, and we've seen some increases in sales since then. As you can see, it takes a while to build it back up. But when you look at Stellantis, it was straight down. There wasn't down and then up to the right and then down again. It was just down, and continuing to go down. If I were a manufacturer, and I were Stellantis, I think I would be more concerned than I would be if I were Nissan.
Now, Dad, even though you would be concerned, the chairman of the board would not. One more Stellantis story, and then stick with us because we're getting off that topic and we're going to our favorite segment of the show. John Elkann urges unity and message to employees. He's the chairman of the board over at Stellantis and also a new board member at Meta. I don't know if you saw that yesterday. John Elkann, the Stellantis chairman, is now a board member at Meta. Exciting times for all of us who live in this world and use social media. Here you go, Dad. Elkann wrote that Stellantis has, quote, achieved many remarkable milestones, end quote, since being formed 4 years ago, despite great challenges in the industry, and asserted that the company has a strong foundation. He has to say this. Let's be very clear. He has to say this.
Yeah, it's not like...
Yeah, he can't come out and say the crap that we say, even though what we say is 100% how we feel and he has to come out and say it. But it's pretty damning when you put these charts side by side. You say we've accomplished a lot in the past 4 years.
Yeah, they have. That it's quite the accomplishment to go from 2.26 million in new vehicle sales to 1.3. I mean, that is a world-class accomplishment. There are not very many manufacturers of anything that can almost cut their sales in half and not think that is some type of world-class I mean, now, maybe that wasn't what your goal was.
But if it was.
But if it was, you did it better than anybody. Yeah, that is, I mean, he can't come out and say, oh my God, the whole business is in the toilet. Pretty close. He can't say that. He's gotta he has to offer this brighter future outlook, or else he'd be gone.
Absolutely wild what has happened over in Stellantis land. All right, the lost automotive continent of Stellantis. From my business question: I couldn't get through yesterday. How long should it take for all of the year-end trade-ins to show up on CarEdge? The data that you see, the inventory you see on CarEdge.com when you use the CarEdge car search updates every single day. So as dealers are getting new vehicles into inventory, it'll show up on the CarEdge car search. For those of you that are unfamiliar about how do you know when a vehicle is a trade-in, typically, let's see if we can find an example. This is, what we love to do on this show. So let's go here. We're no longer going to look at new. We're going to look at used vehicles. Doesn't have to be a Ram 1500. Let's just look at used vehicles, and let's I don't really want to look at a Polestar, and I want one at like a franchise dealership. What I'm looking for, Dad, what I'm going to look for is a stock number.
Yeah, and the stock number, typically if the stock number ends in an A, it was a trade-in, or a B. But that, the letter A at the end of a stock number typically indicates that that vehicle was traded in against that car, that original stock number, and the letter A is added to reflect that it's a trade-in.
Okay, so here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to go to research, and then I'm going to click on dealer reviews, and then I don't know what dealership should we do, Dad?
Oh, you could choose Lindsay. After all, they're being sued now by the FTC,
and they have a 1-star review on the CarEdge dealer reviews platform. Fascinating. Then I'm going to click on view inventory.
Yeah.
So now we are just looking at the 316 vehicles for sale at Lindsay. I'm going to click on this first one, this 2019 Ford F-150. Drum roll, please. There it is. See that stock number, everyone? This vehicle is most likely, I mean, how confident would you say, Dad? 95% confident?
Yes.
95% confident that this vehicle is a trade-in because the stock number ends in A, and it was traded in 12 days ago, right at the end of the year.
Yes. Right here. And according to the lawsuit that was filed, it was probably, well, depending on which dealership it was of theirs, the advertised price was not necessarily the price that the customer could have actually bought the vehicle for.
We need to take a second. If you are not using the CarEdge car search,
yes,
when you're shopping for a vehicle, you absolutely should be. Look at this. You can see the likely maintenance expense in each year, the repair probability, how much it'll cost you in maintenance and repairs. You can see the maintenance schedule here, view the full schedule. This is pretty good stuff, man.
No, it's not pretty good stuff. It's great stuff. It's
great stuff. If you're not shopping for your next car using our car search, tell us why. Let me know why in the comments down below or in the chat, because I think this is pretty doggone tight. Here's your target price range, the discount you should be shooting for. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Really good stuff.
Yes, excellent really stuff. And people that don't use it, my guess is that they're not aware of it.
All right. Well, let us know. Please share feedback for how we can make it even better. Dad, let's go to our favorite segment of the show.
Really? You've got to be kidding me.
All righty. Car buying in 2025, the price increases by 50% with fees, add-ons, and taxes. WTF. This is for a 2025 Kia K4.
Yes.
This is from our concierge team here at CarEdge. So if you're unfamiliar, we offer a car buying service, and we are helping a customer get a 2025 Kia K4. The dealer provided this out the door price, which is what you have to ask for when you go to negotiate a car deal. And you can see the MSRP for this vehicle is $26,345. And then, Dad, when you add everything on, which we will go through line item by line item, the government fee of $617, the processing dock fee of $85, Clear Shield for $495, permaplate for $995, Cars security system for $995, Forever Start for $395, Kia Distinction for a measly $4,995, which when you put that into the percentage of the $26,000 vehicle just seems astronomical. It's almost 25% of the vehicle's value. The Litha
lifetime oil,
is $1,295, and then your guaranteed asset protection, which, to be clear, if you are going to purchase this vehicle with all these add-ons and put no money down and finance it, you absolutely should get guaranteed asset protection. However, you should not pay $1,195 for it. And your taxes, which your taxes are going to be more because you're buying all these add-ons too, are $2,271.53. Tommy D says that has to be fake. If only it was, Tommy D. If only it was.
Well, the amazing thing to me, any number of things are amazing on there. The key distinction, but the Litha lifetime oil. You could put 300,000 miles on this vehicle. You're still not going to get up to $1,300 worth of oil that you're going to have to put in the vehicle.
Insanity.
I mean, what's an oil change today? $50, $60? Call it $50. Okay. And let's say you get one done every 7,500 miles. So most people drive 15,000 miles a year. That's $100 a year. Okay. You're looking at 13 years worth. I mean, that's crazy stuff. The whole thing is crazy stuff. The clear shield and the permaplate and the car security system and forever start. What the hell is forever start? Okay. Hey, we guarantee it'll start forever or it won't. What is forever start? You're gonna push the button and hope it starts. I mean, what is this nonsense? It is. Dealers get mad at me. Sales personnel at dealerships get mad at me all the time because they say, all you do, Ray, is bash dealers. I bash the bad ones. That's a bad one. Okay? That takes... I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. That takes just incredibly sized testicles I mean world-class size. I mean, I mean, just how do you if you're a salesperson at a dealership, now I have been that, how do you sit there and go over that with your customer?
Yeah. How do you have a straight face?
It?
How do you have a straight face when you say,
yeah,
I know you're interested? And again, this is from our concierge service. So this was all done remotely. And obviously this is not the deal that the customer is taking. But like, how do you send that across and have confidence and conviction that this is fair?
I mean, listen, I get it. You can't get what you don't ask for. I get that. Okay. And no, there's nothing wrong with making a profit. Absolutely nothing. And if the customer says yes, is it your fault as the salesperson? Probably not. But goodness gracious, I mean, these are record-setting testicles. I mean, it is the testicle.
Yeah. Do we need a new segment? Do we need a new segment of the show?
What?
Do we need a new segment for the show?
The balls it takes? What?
Yeah, like the bigger. This could be a new 2025. I feel like we're going to alienate some of our audience by doing it, but others will probably really enjoy it. No, I'm kidding, but this is one of the most insane. Really, you've got to be kidding me. It's 50% increase in price from MSRP online advertised price to OTD. That's bad. What do you always caution people? Maybe think maybe 10%, 12%, 15%, but From Jack, he says, hypocritical for Ray to complain now that when he was selling cars, I'm sure his dealership did unethical and immoral things to sell a car. Come on, Ray. Like a sinner turning to Jesus in his final day.
Here, let me help you with this, Jack. Absolutely not. Okay? I didn't have to lie, cheat, or steal to sell a car. I did counsel people when it wasn't in their best interest to do things. Now, if somebody said yes to something, was that my fault? I just said it. Profit is not immoral. Dealerships are in business to make a profit. Okay. And I have nothing against the dealership making a profit. It's the way they go about making a profit. For you, not knowing me, not working with me, not ever having done business with me, to suggest that I did unethical and immoral things to sell a car just proves that you don't know Jack. Okay, you're just assuming, and it doesn't. The assumption you're making that, well, because I sold and managed dealerships, that I had to do immoral and unethical things says more about you than it says about me. I'm sorry. There are some folks in the car business who do it right and try to do it right. And as I have said in the past, did I always do it right? No. When I first got into the business, I didn't know any better. But when I learned, I changed things up, and I changed the way we did things at the dealerships that I worked at. So guess what, Jack? You don't know Jack.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your opinion, Jack, and thank you for sharing your response, Pops. I will say, feel incredibly lucky and fortunate. A lot of hard work goes into it, but if you check out the reviews of what my dad and I have built here, it is, I'm going to be very clear, entirely thanks to our team. At this point in time, I don't think Dad and I can take credit for all the reviews that come in. I can't take credit for any of it. It is our team, okay? But we are able to help tens of thousands of people every single month, and they have positive experiences with us. So I strongly encourage you to learn more about us, learn more about our business, learn more about the ways that we're helping people before you pass any type of judgment. From Rich Diana,
Thank you.
Toyota to come out with a $19,000 pickup. Rich, thanks for the kind contribution. Maybe that was announced at CES. I haven't been paying attention to what's going on at CES. A lot of automakers aren't even there this year. But if they did that, Dad, they would sell out even faster than the Mavericks were selling out for Ford. They would be flying off the shelves.
Yeah, maybe they are to come out with one, just not in the United States at $19,000.
Yep.
But yeah, it would sell.
We've got here from Christopher. Can we get one of Ray's coworkers on the show? I think that could be really fun, Dad. Do you think like Glenn Bob would hop on with us, or any of your old people you worked with?
Maybe.
It'd be kind of fun. It'd be fun to talk about that. Maybe even at like your old boss. I'm thinking, she's no longer in the business, but maybe she would hop on. It'd be kind of fun. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Let us know what else you'd like to see from us on CarEdge Live. Yeah, obviously we had Mazda on yesterday, but maybe there's other automakers we could get on here with us. Yeah, we should do some big stuff this year.
I'm in. Let's do big stuff.
Okay, let's call it a show. We're back tomorrow with more CarEdge Live at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the Edmunds data that came out this week, Dad. And you know what the headline of tomorrow's show is going to be. You know it. What's it going to be?
Somebody shocked the world.
I just told you who shocked the world.
Edmunds shocked the auto industry.
Yeah, they've got some pretty crazy stats that they pulled out for their most recent data set. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Tune in for that, Dad. I love you so much. Good luck with the heater, and enjoy the day.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten enough of me yet, CarSense on YouTube, CarCents, with Brandon from Car Questions Answered. We'll be on live at 1:30 this afternoon. So look forward to that if you just haven't had enough of me yet. And why you haven't is beyond me, but I'm thankful for those of you who haven't.
Yes, CarSense, CarCents. Congratulations, Dad and Brandon. You have 16,500 subscribers over there. That's wild.
Yeah, we've done pretty well for the first 2 months of that, or 2.5 months.
Deb ES Jr. keeping us on here for a moment. Thank you for the kind contribution. Is it possible to return a vehicle if you signed the loan but did not give the down payment? ES Jr., I remember hearing from you yesterday talking about refinancing an auto loan. This is going to be different in every single state, isn't it, Dad?
Is it possible to No. I mean, if you signed for it and it was approved and you took the vehicle,
if you took the vehicle,
you own it.
Isn't it in some states? Like, wasn't it in Arizona different than Maryland, things like that?
Well, in Arizona, once you signed the documents, you owned it. In Maryland, you actually had to drive the vehicle off the lot to complete the transaction. But if you've signed for the vehicle, taken delivery of the vehicle, and you haven't given them the down payment you had promised, that will be the dealership suing you for that money. So no, you can't just return the vehicle. You're in a legal binding contract. And they'll probably sue you in small claims court or whatever, depending upon the amount of the down payment. They'll probably sue you for that.
All right, folks. And again, I talked about it yesterday, Raybot It's probably going to make a lot of mistakes, but we'll probably get out in your hands later this week. So stay tuned for that Raybot 1.0. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Dad, I love you. Enjoy the day. See you later for Car Sense with you and Brandon.
Yep. I hope you feel better, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.